Welcome to Flipping Houses for Rookies, the only podcast that shows you how to take back your financial freedom and live the American dream by becoming a real estate investor. Without the banks, without the big wigs, and without the realtor's nonsense. This isn't about selling you coaching or some get-rich-quick scheme. It's about opening your eyes to the possibilities so you can make real chunks of dough, buy your life back, and become a free American. With over 400 episodes aired, we're delivering everything you need to know to find deals, talk to sellers, structure deals, and win big. It's time to take action, change your mindset, and claim what's yours. Real estate is the key to your freedom, and we're here to show you the way. Subscribe now and catch our latest episodes on YouTube at Flipping Houses for Rookies, because your financial freedom starts today. Now, here are your hosts, Bill and Pete.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Hey, Peter.
Morning, Bill.
How's everything today?
The sun just came out, so it'll be a fine, glorious 90-degree day.
Wow. After
3 days, rain, gloom.
a week.
Ugh.
Anyways, so podcast number 464, here is the title. Creative Real Estate Profit Money Math. Here's the description. Have you ever broke a calculator? Not physically, but mathematically. I was running profit calculations on a deal using some old marketing math and thought I kept getting errors when in fact the money math was incredible and almost unbelievable to me. And that's when I realized I hadn't just discovered a new profit metrics. I'd accidentally stumbled upon a mathematical phenomenon that transforms ordinary creative deals into wealth-generating machines. So powerful, they literally break conventional calculator formulas and tools. Like an archaeologist who discovers that the artifact they found isn't just ancient, it's from a civilization more advanced than modern technology. Had I realized my past profit calculations had evolved beyond anything anyone in creative real estate and the creative real estate industry realized, and in this 60-minute episode, I plan to reveal what I discovered that will motivate even the dead, Peter.
Oh, no, not the dead.
And get going from finding deals right away. After today, there is no going back to our regular formulas. Once you hear what I've discovered, so let's unlock the vault and see what's inside. Are you ready?
Sounds good. Let's go for it.
So let me get something to drink. I'm just going on my throat here. So just our housekeeping factors here. Make sure you like us or leave us a review wherever you're watching us or you're listening to us. That means a lot to the people that are coming along and want to check us out. I go look at them occasionally, but probably not enough. Also, go head on over to Amazon, type in my name, William Hawthorne, and you will find my new book called Leads, Deals, Cash, Creative Real Estate Operator's Manual. It's been crushing it. Everyone that reads it, that gives me feedback, is like, oh my God. Matter of fact, one of my guys this morning texted me, Peter. Let me open it up here on my screen so I can see it. Here, this is what he texted me. You ready?
Yep.
So I know he's reading the book. I guess I can now say, keep the best, frep the rest. So in my book, I talk about FREP is flipping real estate properties, where creative real estate is flipping real estate documents, which is FRED.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's saying is keep the best, which is the FRED deals, and flip the rest, or whatever.
Sell them.
Yeah.
Sell them.
Sell the rest.
It's like keep the good ones and don't hang on to the other ones. Just sell those, make the money, move on. Keep the good ones for all the benefits. You're probably going to tell us now, huh?
Yeah. So anyways, so head on over to Amazon, William Hawthorne, Hawthorn, into Amazon, and you will find the book there. I am soon going to release my workbook with my certification program. It's all done. I just got to spend some time on it. And, yeah. And I just, this week, Peter, I guess I've been on a binge, actually wrote what I consider the first creative real estate dictionary.
No way.
Yeah. It has almost 100 terms in it, I think. And I'm having it published right now.
Now, I didn't even know you were doing that. This is what's crazy. Where's Bill? I call Bill. Answer me, Bill. He calls back. But, like, he's doing these crazy things.
I'm busy, Pete. I'm busy.
What, are you bored?
Yeah, I don't know what I am. No, I've been back to work in 10, 12-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so go check that out. And if you have any questions, you can go to Flipping Houses for Rookies at gmail.com, and I'll answer your questions. Or you just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com and just put in a support ticket. All right, so enough of that. Let's get started, Peter. Right?
Yep.
So here we go. I want to start today off with this core natural law when it comes to deal structuring in creative real estate.
Okay.
Right? And that law is acquiring real estate is about 50% behavioral, psychology, and 50% math.
Mm-hmm.
So your deals, when you're making deals, anyone making deals can't be an introvert. You have to talk to people. Texting and all the automation is good to get their attention, but 50% of the deal is behavioral psychology, or psychology behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading one of the most fascinating books I think I've read in a long, long time. And I probably say this about every book that I read. I'm not sure, because I get excited about the books I read, because I read a lot. But lately what's happening is I probably read 10 books, maybe 12 or more, before I find something that isn't just full of fluff and it actually has something new and useful in it.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
And this book is called Oversubscribed. It is absolutely an amazing book. He talks about how to get a core customer that just throws money at you.
Wow.
Customers. Right? And it's just fascinating the way he thinks. But anyways, I bring that up because in that book, along with many others, Dan Kennedy and Russell Brunson and I don't know, whoever else I can think of, Grant Cardone, any of these guys that talk about, even all the way back to, the science of advertising, back in the 30s, and, Gary Halbert and all these guys, they all talk about how we emotionally make decisions and then we back them up or factually feel like we're making a logical decision based on the numbers.
Yeah.
So the numbers are just to make us right. The emotion is to make us feel good. Right?
Okay.
So
makes sense.
So you need to realize that. So today I'm going to I'm going to apologize before I start this podcast, because I'm going to be Bill. I'm not bragging. I'm not anything like that. I've been doing it for 30 plus years. I understand the business really well. And I don't need to apologize if somebody feels like I'm arrogant or bragging or being pompous or any of that. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I talk to way too many people. I have way too many people that give me their problems, and I give them solutions, and it's just because of my experience, my wisdom. Now, if you ask me to cook some eggs, I may not be that smart, right? But in real estate, I am.
I thought you could do that. I've seen you.
Well, I can't. I'm just
Yeah, I
joking
know.
around.
He can grill like a son of a gun.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I'm going to apologize because I'm not going to go slow. I'm going to go through what I need to go through today, you know, as if you're a little bit advanced and you really want to make a killing with real estate. Now, the last thing I'm going to say before I get going here is I am talking right now not to the rookies, although they will get a lot out of this. I am talking to that person that is like me, that has a mad passion about real estate, that just loves real estate and just can't seem to get through life without talking about it, without doing it, without having some part of it in their lives. This podcast is dedicated to you. The guy that is like really, or the girl that is really passionate about it and loves the numbers and loves the deal strategy and loves the chase of the deal and all that kind of stuff. This podcast is for you. Okay?
Cool.
Normally I charge for these kinds of events and talk about these things, but lately I'm too lazy to put an event together. So, all right. So 50% behavioral psychology and 50% money, which tells us that the idea that difficulty of a deal is proportionate to the price is wrong. Right? So people think deals are difficult because they can't pay enough money. Right? Like I can't, like the guy, and it drives me internally crazy when I hear someone say, a student say, well, you were doing this the other night with Deborah. The guy's just stupid, right? Or the seller is just out to lunch.
Unreasonable.
Right?
Unreasonable.
Yeah. So to me, that's not true. To me, that means you didn't do your job. You know, that to me, that means that you missed the what is it? Aristotle, is it the how to ask questions to make a sale? You know, to question somebody well enough. You didn't get their reality. You skimmed. Their social personality spoke to you, not their chronic personality. Their social veneer spoke to you, not who they really are. And you let them get away with it. And I'm not saying you personally. I'm just saying you let them get away with it. Right? You didn't dig deep. Right? But this is interesting, Peter. This is the part that's interesting. This, what I'm about to say in the next minute, is the one and only reason that I got into real estate, and I'm still in real estate, and why I have helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students. It takes 8 years to get the necessary education to be a doctor or a lawyer. And a reasonable knowledge and skilled, creative real estate entrepreneur can easily turn out 5 times or 10 times what these professionals do. No college education, no operating on cadavers, dead people, no going to court when you don't want to, right? You set your own schedule, you set your own pace, right? It's just an amazing business. And like I have said many times before, what other business could you work really hard once and get paid over and over every month? Where can you do that? And when I show you today's math, I'm going to wake up the dead. And it's completely unreasonable to expect, listen to me, it's completely unreasonable to expect to have the capability like this, like I'm talking about, after going to one seminar or going through one course. Right? Now, I'm not saying you need 8 years worth of training, but it's not going to be one seminar or one course.
Sure. It's not a magic trick.
It's not going to be by listening to my seminar. I'm sorry, to this podcast.
Oh.
464 podcasts. It will definitely help you, but it's not going to make you that person that is like a doctor or a lawyer, and you're going to make 5 times or 10 times what a doctor or a lawyer makes. I can't tell you, and you might have heard this because he might have done it in front of you. My attorney has given me checks for my deals, and at least a handful of times I can remember him saying, I'm going to have to get with you. I'm going to have to see how you do this because this is a nice size check.
Oh, hell yeah. He says that. He gets his cut, but you get the big check. It's true. And they asked, gee, I should do that. But it's not the mentality. It's not the type of person. They're not. A lawyer is usually not that kind of guy.
All right, so I say you can earn while you learn. I do say that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. But you can't fool yourself to believe there's only one bean in a pot of beans. Right?
Yeah.
So that means that you're looking for that one magical bean.
Mm-hmm.
And this just a bean. This just happened to us recently. I don't know if it was on one of your coaching calls, but it's like one of my coaching clients had this realization, right? Or this epiphany. Like they were looking for that perfect deal. And skipping on all the others, right? So if you think there's just one bean in the pot that's going to be magical, and you can get your hands on it, and you're done, right? I'll have, this one bean will be like, I'll have all the bean stalks I want because you found this one bean.
Sure.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Now, can one seminar or course change your life forever? Abso-frickin-lutely. Because if only by putting you on the road to acquire more and more wisdom as you go. I believe that books, I just told you I read 10, 12, sometimes 15 books before I find one that is actually not full of fluff. I usually get something out of every book. There's always a paragraph or a sentence or something that I'll put in my repertoire, right? But the point is that there's a lot of information out there, right? And as I told you before in other podcasts, we're overwhelmed with information, but we're starving for wisdom, right? This is exactly what my new book is about. It's Leads, Deals, and Cash, right? The Creative Real Estate Operator's Manual is all about taking this journey safely and confidently. See, there's something that I could talk about for days. Literally stand on stage and talk about it for days.
What's that?
What you believe.
Wow. Yeah.
What you believe.
It's funny, you're saying what you believe, not what you know, what you believe.
I just had a conversation with my wife this morning about leaving my bedroom door open.
Yeah?
Yeah, because of what she believes.
I've had a conversation with my wife the other day about closing the bedroom door. How about that?
Yeah. My upstairs, I live in a cape, right? I'm not a big fancy guy. I live in a cape, and I have a full bathroom upstairs that's like, and we don't have central air because of the way the house is built. Like I've tried to put central in here a few times, and I've had guys here, and it's just the way it's built.
Yeah.
I actually got an idea how to do it now, which I'll be talking to somebody about pretty soon, I would imagine. But You got to leave the doors open because if the 2 bedrooms upstairs, the air conditioning's on, the bathroom's got to get air conditioning because it's got water in it, and otherwise it gets yucky if it's like too hot.
Yep.
It's not her belief, it's her conviction of belief.
Ooh.
And this, my friend, is exactly what I'm up against every single day. What do you believe? Do you believe you can make $1 million next month or not? Do you believe you're going to be healthy today or not? Do you believe you're too fat or too skinny? Do you believe that your driving's good or bad? Do you believe that your memory's good or bad? Do you believe you're good at numbers and not names? I got that one. What do you believe?
Mm.
And the strangest thing in the world, and again, I'm gonna get off this topic because honestly, I could talk about this for days. Because what you believe is what aligns all your data to. So if you think that all sellers are Martians, everything you learn about a seller is going to align to them that, well, they're just Martians. What do you expect? And what people don't realize is they don't qualify their belief system to make sure it's giving them what they want. Or the results they want, right? So I just went off on a tangent there, but this is exactly what my new book is about. That's why I bring it up. I'm not trying to sell my book. Believe me, I've sold a lot of copies. I'm sure there's money in an account somewhere. I have no idea. I've never looked. I don't know. I'm not selling a book to make money. I'm selling a book to help you change your life because it's 30 plus years worth of experience in there. In all the coaching I do, it is just point blank the only creative real estate operator's manual on the market to date that covers all the deals that we cover. You know, it covers subject to and owner financing and, you know, lease options and wholesaling lease options and, you know, options and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it covers every possible creative real estate out there, right? All right, so I digress, and here's what happened to me. Okay.
Yep.
I was working on a creative REI reply, and using some standard marketing numbers. So I'm a Dan Kennedy disciple, as you know. I get his newsletter, which you should get. It's called No BS. No BS. I'll read the front of it. Hang on one second. No BS magnetic marketing letters. See?
Mm-hmm.
So I just showed it on the camera with my finger.
No BS.
And it's about $100. It's about $100 a month, or you can get their bigger package for $300 or something like that. Dan Kennedy is just amazing. He's a grumpy old guy, but he's a millionaire maker, and he's pretty interesting. And so he talks about money math, which is where I got the idea from. And what he talks about is when you do marketing, there's certain metrics you use to know whether or not the marketing is worth investing in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just return on investment, right? So I'm not going to go over those numbers or those letters, and I'm not going to try to teach you how to do marketing here. Dan Kennedy could do that for you. And if you just go on anything, I'm sure, just on the Google or YouTube or anything, I'm sure you can get those numbers. I'm sure there's videos. I'm sure there's downloads. I'm sure there's all that because he's a content king. But here's what I came up with. Here are the ones that I decided to use.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's called a TCV. Right? It's total customer value.
Oh.
TCV, total customer value. Now, we do this to some extent, and I'm going to explain to you what I've been doing that I think is incorrect.
Really?
And I'm going to explain that to you in a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next number is a CPL, which is cost per lead, right? And then there's CPS, which is cost per sale.
Yep.
Right? And then there's MAC, which is maximum allowable cost per deal.
Sure.
Right? Now, we don't think about these numbers because too many people are so desperate to get just their one first deal. You don't think about this. And the reason I'm thinking about this is Creative REI Reply is our software company, which is absolutely exploding right now. It is exploding. I can't believe in a bazillion years I would have never realized that when we started this company 3 years ago, it would be where it's at right now. We had a meeting yesterday with David, who's our partner, and Sean, who's my other partner. And he is about to release, I think in another week or two, an AI agent that works inside of the software for you. It's a help button. You click on a help button and the screen opens up and you talk to it with a microphone and say, hey, can you go find me a lead named Peter Coca-Cola? And it goes and finds it.
Wow.
Can you tell me how to set up whatever, set up a trigger? Can you tell me how to do this or can you do that for me? And it does it all for you. It's like having a private agent. Can you call Tom Jones for me? There's 158 points of end results it can do for you. I mean, I can't believe there's nobody like us on the market. I mean, between our we put leads in your market that are, we get raving reviews about our leads, right? We have a calculator to figure out which creative real estate deal to do. We automatically generate offers to you. We automatically text the seller the offers. Now we have a robot or an agent that actually calls people, outbound calls and inbound calls, that is really good. And now we're putting in this help system. So I don't know anybody that has this. So I'm not bragging about the software. I'm saying that I spend a lot of time because I run the sales team, and these numbers I'm talking about is why I'm kind of like in this world of these numbers. It's not just some arbitrary, like I read a newsletter and that's it. I went looking for that newsletter because I want to know some of our numbers for Creative REI Reply, and it popped in my head like, I wonder why we don't do this for houses.
Yeah.
And this is how it started, right? So I'm going to get to the numbers in a few minutes, but I started wondering how this would work on all of our deals. Right?
So this is not just, it sounds like it's an overall view of how to run like a whole business, but you're saying you can do that for each deal too?
Yeah, no. So those are the numbers that I was just telling you about, like the total customer value, cost per lead, cost per sale, maximum allowable cost per deal. Those are just marketing numbers.
Yeah.
So I decided to let me make up some of my own numbers. So I came up with these. DTV, which is total deal value. I'm sorry, deal total value. DTV, deal total value, right? The second one is PLV, which is property lifetime value. CTO, which is cash out timing optimization. That right there, my friend, will blow your head apart. Think about what I just said.
Yeah, cash out timing optimization.
What does optimization mean?
Well, to optimize is to make the best of.
Or most efficient, or the most amount.
Yeah. So I can only guess where it's going, but I won't. I'll let you say. I get the idea though.
And then REO, which is return on equity.
Wait, say again?
Yeah, REO is return on equity.
ROE. ROE?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, REO is like return, real estate. We see that a lot, so it's easy to fall into that one.
ROE.
ROE.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Yeah.
Well, it's like REOs. We see that all the time.
Yeah, it's probably why I put it. So we want to know, what is the total value of a deal? What's the property lifetime value of a deal? What's the cash out timing optimization on a deal? And what's the return on equity? We never talk about this stuff because so many listeners, even this show's not going to be popular because too many people are looking for their first deal to make $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, make a big chunk of dough, right? Because they seem to think that $25,000 is going to change their life.
Yep.
And though it may make a big impact, and yes, it will do something to your life, but it's not the end-all be-all. Right? Now, these sound interesting until you start to put the money now, money monthly, money later to them. So I took our formula, money now, money monthly, money later, and I applied them to the deal total value, property lifetime value, cash out timing optimization, and return on equity. And I slammed them hard up against money now, money monthly, money later. And as I mentioned in my book, this episode's math works on stage 3 and above. So there's 6 stages in real estate. So this, I'm not talking about a slot deal. I'm not talking about an option deal.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a rent-to-own, which is a sandwich lease option. A slot deal is the same way, but a slot deal, you don't stay in it. So a slot deal is a sandwich lease option. You're actually wholesaling lease options.
Right.
Just for money now. There's no money monthly, no money later.
Yeah, you're talking about when we hang on to property because you have the time factor. Otherwise, it's just a number. How much did you make? End of story. But you're talking about holding property, and a lot of stuff happens.
Right. So rent to own means you're getting 15% worth of equity and 20 or 25% worth of cash flow. That's the way the deal is structured. And then the next one down is subject to, you're getting 20% worth of equity. And then the next one down is, oh my God, I just went blank, is fix and flip, which is 70% worth of equity. Next one down is wholesaling, which is 60% worth of equity. And then the last one is owner financing.
Yep.
So technically we're talking about rent to own, subject to, and owner financing.
Okay.
And under owner financing, there's a lot of deals, wraparound mortgages, there's land contracts. The easiest way to think of creative real estate is these things we're talking about, which is the rent to own, the subject to, and the owner financing are buckets. And within those buckets, there's so many other things that can be done with the paperwork. So like with a subject to, you could do a wraparound mortgage, right? Or with owner financing, you could do a land contract. All that language, those are not strategies. The strategies are rent to own, subject to, and owner financing.
Yep.
Right? And within those buckets are these other terms that get thrown around all the time that confuse people because they think all these deals exist. No, those are the way that you close the deals with the paperwork. The deals are actually, the concept is rent to own, where you're going to rent from a seller with an option to purchase, and then you're going to generate another lease option and give it to your buyer, and you're going to be in the middle for 15% worth of equity and 20 or 25% worth of cash flow. Subject to simply means that you're going to take over somebody's mortgage, you're going to get the seller or the seller's bank to finance you. You're not going to replace the old money with new money. You're going to use the old money that the seller has, and you're going to take that property and you're going to go sell it. And owner financing means that the owner is going to be the bank for you. So they're completely 3 different strategies, and within those strategies are all the other types of transactions we can do, depending on what the seller is willing to do.
Right.
Okay? So does that make sense? Because I kind of want to make sure we understand.
No, that's fine. I mean, when you talk to individual people, they have, like you said, they have their own emotional input, how they feel about it, and then there's some math. And you mix the two of those, you find something that works for the person, then you find the paperwork that does it. So.
Great. The other day, for some reason, I was studying something. I'm not going to do it now, but I looked up the word willingness. And I was blown away. That's a great word. We'll do it another podcast.
Okay.
Because what you have to do is look up will and then ness. You have to look them up 2 different ways.
Yeah.
You know, like N-E-S-S is a suffix, right? Anyways.
Yeah.
So let me explain the terms first, and then we're going to actually go off and do the numbers. Okay?
Sure.
So DTV, which is deal total value. That's the initial math we use now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. PLV, which is property lifetime value. This is when we get a deed and all of the back end money with the DTV.
Mm-hmm.
So deal total value, it's value, not profit, value. Not profit, value. So the initial math is what we use now for deal total value.
Mm-hmm.
And then the property lifetime value is when you take that and then add in all the back end money, which I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
And then CTO, which is cash out timing optimization, is how we adjust duration to get full optimization on each deal. So it's like a sliding scale, like when you go onto a website and it says how much, and you have a sliding scale depending on, you have 100 emails or 500 emails or 2,000 emails on how much you're going to pay for an email service, right? And there's a sliding scale and the number on the top moves, right? This is what CTO is. This is what cash out timing optimization is. This is probably my best, let me put it this way, my strongest feature when you're talking to me about deal structuring is I'm using the duration sliding scale as the point of my arrow. Right? And most don't realize that until they listen to me a lot. Is duration is definitive of how much I'm going to pay and what I'm willing to do.
Right. I've seen when you have a deal that doesn't look great, if you add more time to it, there's more profit over the time. So it'll work if it's 7 years instead of just 3. Could it also be that you don't want to go, is there a factor that you don't want to go too long? Like, is too long going to make a problem? Or is that just more money if it's longer?
Right. So that's where we get into ROE, which is return on equity, is how can we increase our equity?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm telling you, I'm in about 2 minutes, we're going to go over these numbers because I made just one deal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now let's do some money math, and I'm going to warn you, I am about to jump into the deep end of the pool. I have about 25 minutes left, right? And I'm just going to go into math. I'm not going to try to explain anything. If you don't get what I'm talking about, please rewind this video. I'm sorry, because it's the only way I can make my point. Or go to flippinghousesforrookies@gmail.com, and I'll set up a 45-minute consultation with you. And if I have to, I'll explain it to you then. Okay? Because I want to get this out.
Okay. Yep.
So here we go. Here's the scenario. It's so good I had to type it out.
Wow, he typed. Nice.
I typed it out. Usually I handwrite my podcast.
Well, that's a keeper, right?
Yeah, and it's several pages too.
Ooh.
So here's a complete deal analysis on one deal, and here's the deal parameters. Property value $400. I'm going to buy subject to.
Wait a minute, back up. You said $400 or $400,000?
$400,000.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Subject to. So because it's subject to, I'm going to get it a 80% loan to value ratio, which is 360.
Okay.
Okay, that means I'm going to get a 20% discount. Okay. How we do that and all that kind of stuff is not. My PITI, principal interest in insurance, is $23.93. Okay. I'm going to sell on a lease option with 5% down, and my payment's going to be $31.34.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, what I did is the PITI principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, which is the mortgage I'm taking over. I figured it at 4%. This is not a real deal. This is just a deal I made. It's predicated from a real deal. It's a deal that I think you had or somebody else had, and I just kind of took the parameters of it and just kind of, I didn't know all the numbers, so I just made up an example so we know, right?
Sure.
So the deal we're assuming, or the mortgage we're assuming, which is subject to, is 4%, which gives us $23.93 per month that we're on the hook for. And then when we're selling the property on a lease option or owner finance or whatever we're going to do, right, is 6%, because the current rate today is 6.48%. So I just took 6%. What I did is I took terms of 5-year cycles, because we always talk about 5 years in all of our calculations, right? Because most people can't go past 5 years in their head, right? I use an appreciation value of 0.25% per month, which is 3% annually. I used a depreciation basis of $320,000, right? Which is the reason why is because on a $360,000 or on a $400,000 house, you can only depreciate the edifice, the property, the building.
Oh, yeah, not the
land.
land. Yeah, that's right.
Because land doesn't depreciate, right?
Yeah.
So you can only use the edifice, right, or the buildings, right?
Sure.
And then I used an average tax bracket of 25%. Okay, so I think I covered every scenario in my scenario, right? All right, so here we go. So here's a complete breakdown of 4 cycles of 5 years over 20 years. So you're going to keep the property for 20 years. And just please remind me before I get done, in case I forget, there's a specific reason why I'm doing this. It's a deal strategy I don't talk about a lot. Just remind me when I get to the end of the numbers to tell you what that is, so you can understand why the math is this way. Okay? You don't have to do it. It's a new philosophy that I really like and I've been trying to do lately. So for the first cycle, which is a 5-year cycle, money now is 20 grand. That's 5% of the deposit.
Sure.
Oh, we're going to sell for 420. It's worth 400, but we're going to mark it up 5%, which is 20,000, which is kind of low. I could probably get 429.9 for this property, but I'm going to sell it for 420.
Sure.
Okay. So, but I'm not even doing that here. I'm just taking the 400,000. I'm not even being like, no magic here. This is just raw conservative numbers. So let's just take the 400,000. So we're going to take 400,000 times 5%, which is 20 grand. So money now is 20 grand. Money monthly is $741.37 a month. $741.37 a month, which puts us at $44,482 at the end of 5 years. Money later is $74,588. Because we get the deed in our name and we're paying interest, the current interest at 4%, right, is $80,616 over 5 years.
Just an interest.
You're paying just an interest.
Right.
Right? So because you have a tax bracket of 25%, you're going to get 25% of that money that's reduced.
On your taxes.
So the amount of money you're going to save on your taxes is $20,154.
Aha.
This is automatic. This is back end math. We never talk about this, right? You're going to get a depreciation savings of $58,180.
Ooh.
And then, you're going to get the depreciation deduction, and because of your 25% tax
bracket,
that's right.
Yeah.
You're going to actually save $14,544.
Yeah.
$545.
25% of that. Got it.
It's 25% of the $58,180. 180.
Yeah.
Is $14,545.
Yeah.
So, get this. Now, oh my God. I almost like have an orgasm when I talk about this stuff. And I'm not being sexual. It just, I get goosebumps. I got goosebumps in the back of my neck right now. And I've been doing this 30 years. And I've probably done this math a bazillion times. And every time, it's like the first time a girl kissed me. Mm. It's like, it just never goes away. 5 years. 5 years. Now, this deal, subject to, cost me $70 if you do it right to file at the city hall. Okay? Now, I've invested $2,500, I've invested $10,000, I've done all that. And here's the reason why when you hear these numbers. I'm going to just assume, because 90% of the time I ask somebody, would you sell the house for what you owe on it?
Right.
And they say yes. And I get this deal. For the filing fees, $70. Right? But I actually put this deal together with the initial investment of $10,000. Because people won't believe me that I only paid $70. They think it's my talent. So let's just say this is a pre-foreclosure, or like the deal we were looking at the other day, which is the reason why I did this, because we were looking at the conversation we had on Monday night, right?
Yeah. And
the guy actually wanted $10,000. The house was a $200,000 house, but I changed the numbers. But it's because of that deal that I did this podcast.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So in my numbers, I have that we actually put down $10,000. Mm-hmm. So I put down $10,000, right? The return over 5 years is $237,357.
Wow.
Over 5 years. Now, I didn't do this math. I'm going to do it right now. 357 divided by 400,000. That means we made a 60% profit. 59.3%. A 60% profit. Where are you going to go for $10,000? And that's on the whole deal. That's not on the $10,000. We're going to cover that in a few minutes. Mm-hmm. In 5 years, it made $237,000. Now, wait a minute. Let's assume you're going to take the first lease option buyer out of the house and put another one in.
Right.
Right? So that puts us into cycle 2, which is years 6 to 10. Mm-hmm. Now, because appreciation went up, right, 5%, the house is now worth $464,288. So the 5% down is $23,214. The monthly rent is higher, so we're now, instead of having $44,000, we now have $51,667. And the money later, instead of being $74,000, is now $86,661. Total principal paid, which before was $63,000, now it's $86,661.
On the mortgage.
On the mortgage.
Okay. Right, which we get later when the house goes. When the house sells, that's money. That's money in the bank. The house is paid off, so you get that at the end when the cash is out because you don't owe that much.
No. Oh, principal reduction. Yeah. I thought you were talking about interest. Okay, so the loan interest deduction. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The loan interest deduction. Yeah, so we raised our equity $76,641.
Well, it's a beautiful thing because the mortgage is still there, and it's the old mortgage. My mortgage on my house used to be $245 a month.
Yeah.
It's crazy. If you just wait, like the numbers, you buy a house and like, oh man, the mortgage payments are tight. Give it a couple of years. You get a few raises, the economy, and then it gets easier and easier. And we just keep making more money if we flip it like this, the next buyer.
Exactly. The loan interest tax deduction is $67,363, which is 100% deductible. So it's $67,363. But in our tax bracket, we're going to get a $16,841 deduction. Mm-hmm. Depreciation is $58,000. We're going to get $14,000. That number doesn't change because it doesn't go up. It's just every year, every 5 years, we're going to have the same amount, right? Mm-hmm. Now, years 6 to 10, we've made $269,569. $269,569. Now, we're not done yet because, look, I'm going to just do it once. 237,357 plus 269,569. We've owned this house for 10 years and made $500,000. 506,926.
But Bill, you can't make more money than the house is worth.
Cycle 3, which is year 11 to 14. The house is now worth $539,160. 160.
Yeah.
Money now is $26,958. Money later is $60,027. I'm sorry, I said money later. Money monthly is $60,027 over 5 years, right? So what is that? 60,027 divided by 60 months. So now you're like the first month you were making $741.
Yeah.
Now you're making $1,000 a month.
Yep.
Right? So that's right. So money later is $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The first 5 years, money later was $74,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's $100,000. Right? The interest is now $52,000, and your deduction for the interest is $13,205. Right? In our first scenario, the interest was
14.
Yeah, 14,000, and now we're at.
Well, it'll go down because the interest decreases.
That's why.
Principal payments go up, interest goes down. So, it's so unfortunate. You'll make less benefit on the interest going down while you make more principal. I'm not crying for you. Sorry.
And here's the principal amount is now $92,182.
Yeah, it's going to go up.
So you got $92,000 worth of equity. Right? So depreciation is still $58,000. You're going to collect $14,000, and so that means you have for depreciation you got $14,545, right, times 3. So you've collected $43,632 over the course of 15 years. Every year you're going to put this on your tax deduction. So just to get straight here, so 14,545 divided by 5, you're getting a $3,000 tax deduction every year just for owning the house.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So cycle 3 is 307,592. So cycle 1 to 5 years was 237. Cycle 2, which is 6 to 10 years, was 269. Now we're up on cycle 3 to 307. The last cycle is 16 to 20 years, right? And it's money now, because now it's worth, are you ready for this? $626.
Sure. Why not?
And I'm telling you this because 3% has been appreciation for 50 years. And it's an average. Now, we just went through a very high appreciation, which was a lot more than 3%, but we're taking in the low markets too, right? So an average of 3% over 20 years, you're going to have high markets and low markets, right? So 3% is extremely conservative. But the house is worth $626,000. So that means you're getting $31,309 for your money now. Your money monthly is going to be $69,000. Your money later is $117,000. Principal reductions $110,000, which means that your I'm sorry, I said principal reduction, right?
Yeah.
Principal reduction is $110,000. Your interest tax deduction is $37,000. You're going to get back $9,400 for savings and taxes, and your depreciation amount is going to be $58,000, $14,000 reduction. that means your 16 to 20 years is $353,000. Now here comes the explosion. Okay, so cumulative tax deduction analysis. Right? Total interest paid was $238,716 in 20 years. Total interest savings was $59,000 over 20 years, because that's 25% of the 238. So you made $60,000 by paying interest. Right? Your total depreciation was $232, which is 100% deductible, right? So your tax savings would have been $58,000, right? So combined, your depreciation and your tax savings alone was $117,859. Right? So let's go back to the podcast. The total deal value, I'm going to go back to my numbers. Total deal value to you in your pocket, spendable money, is $1,167,519. Total, that's the deal total value, the DTV. $1,167,519. Why would I buy an IRA? or why do I want to do a Roth? You know what I mean? Because what am I going to save? I mean, the Roth is okay, but why get this is totally. Now wait a minute, because I'm not done yet, right? So this deal total value includes wealth components with full tax deductions. The property lifetime value, which I presume the lifetime value would be 30 years. Not 20 years. I only did 20 because I don't want to keep going on the podcast on and on, right? Because I'll bore you. Total property lifetime value, if we keep a property 30 years, which is common, $3,234,891. $3 million. That's $1 million per decade. So this is if we extended all the numbers I just talked to you out to 30 years instead of 20 years.
Yeah.
So CTO, which is cash out timing optimization, we never sell. We hold forever to maximize the depreciation and avoid the recapture. Return on equity is 583%. 583% if we use a 10% down payment.
Right. I was thinking $70 for a second. But, geez, what would it be if he only did like $100 option and $70? Like, nobody would believe it. Never mind.
So my middle finger is up to Wall Street right now. And when people ask me how come I don't invest in stocks, this is the reason why.
Well, don't those stock people go buy real estate then?
Yeah.
So there. Why do the middleman? Why go through the via of the stock? Just go get the house.
So 20-year wealth is $1,167,000. I'll give that again. $1,167,519. That's on a 20-year plan. Your initial invested was $10,000, and your annual return on equity is $583,000. I mean, come on. Then, because I used my calculator, my math, and then I used some ChatGPT to do some of the numbers, so I don't have to do all the math myself, right? So So how about a PMM, which is profit multiplier matrix?
Whoa. What is that?
Yeah. So it means from $10,000 to $3,234,891 in 32 years, you're making a total return of 32,349%.
Mm-hmm.
32,349%. Or what they would call the matrix multiplier is 323.5 times your money.
Mm.
So your $10,000 reproduced $10,000 323 times.
Mm-hmm.
323 and a half times.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the profit multiplier matrix, right? Because you're making 32,349% interest on your 10 grand.
Right.
This is why the numbers literally break the calculator. Over 30 years with a $10,000 investment. Now, I just want to handle probably the main objection that I'm going to probably hear from this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But Bill, what about the maintenance and the repairs and the money you got to put back into the house? Well, if you do it right and your seller is actually going to do the repairs for you, because you're the bank, not the landlord. I mean, when a bank lends you money, do they care if you do repairs or not? Are they worried about the value of the property?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're making all their money, right? So you were going to remind me about what the strategy that I was going to tell you about at the end after the numbers.
Mm.
You forgot already. But
Are you kidding? After all those numbers you threw at us, give us a go ahead then.
I don't know the guy's name, but he talked about a slow flip. He wrote a book called Slow Flip. I don't
Yeah,
remember
you
his
mentioned
name.
that. Yeah.
And I read his book some time ago. It was some while ago. He talks about doing this on
Was that low price houses?
yeah, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 houses, selling them for $70,000, $80,000, $90,000.
Yeah.
Which is great, because what you do is you go borrow, you pay cash for the house, you pay 30 grand cash, you go borrow 30 grand from a private lender, and what you do is you pay it off in 5 years, the private lender, and then you actually purchase the house with the 30 grand, and then you go find a buyer and write a 20-year mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is in the first 5 years you don't make that much money, but out from year 6 to year 20 you're making 100% profit because you own the house free and clear.
Yep.
And you sell ugly houses this way. No more flipping ugly houses for profits. You sell them ugly houses, and you let the person that is buying the property do the repairs. So you're buying an $80,000 or $90,000 house, we'll say for 50 grand,
Mm-hmm.
and then hold the paper. Right? So you hold the mortgage. You become the bank. What I just explained to you today is becoming the bank.
Mm.
Now, the numbers will change because you're only going to sell it once, not 4 times.
Yeah.
But even so, it's still a shit ton of money. So I run into my coaching clients that are like, well, it's too far away. I don't want to do the repairs. I don't have boots on the ground. I don't want to run a repair crew. I don't know how to do it. This is how you do it. When you find a deal that needs repairs that you don't want to do, and I'm not talking about $5,000 worth of repairs. I'm talking about a house that's not dysfunctional. I'm talking about a house that's just old. You got a 1970s kitchen or whatever, right? It needs paint. It's dirty. It's whatever. You buy the property with this method. I use subject to do it, right? And you just sell it on a land contract for 20 years. Now, pay attention to what I just said to you, because that right there, I just gave you $1 million tip. So can you tell me what that was? I'm not testing you. I just
well,
want to make sure what I said made sense.
Well, I'd have to think of all the numbers, but you buy it on a subject to, so you don't have a lot of money going in. You don't even have a loan on it. And then selling it. How'd you sell it?
On a land contract.
Okay, so land contract, they don't get the deed until the end.
There you go.
They don't get the deed to the end, and their payments go toward the purchase, which is fine. You're making the money because you're the bank, but you get all those benefits still.
So you still get the depreciation, you still get the interest, you still get all that because the deed is in your name.
Yeah, whoever has the deed.
It's a beautiful strategy because you buy the house subject to, and you're not going to make as much money because you're not going to have you'll have the increase in the property because you'll put the 0.25% appreciation in the land contract you put that in there, right?
You do.
But what you're not going to have is the deposit money every 5 years.
No. One in the beginning.
Now, doesn't mean that you can't put it in there, that you could tell your seller, hey, you got to give me an additional deposit every 5 years. Mm. Doesn't mean that you can ask for down payment assistance, right? Mm. For a very long time, I would do a lease option for 5 years and then tell them when you get up to 20% down, I'll do owner financing, and I would just write a land contract. But I got them from 5% to 20% down. So when you're going to do a mortgage for 20 years or 25 years or whatever, you could demand 20% down.
Yeah.
Now, listen to what I'm telling you. Do you get it?
Well, we're not FHA. We're not the government. So 20% is typical. What are you talking?
So if we get every 5 years we got 5% down. Times 4 is how much?
Well, it's 5%. It's 20% then.
See what I mean? So you're still getting it.
So you could tell somebody, I need 20% down. They go, well, I don't have that. I'll tell you what. Let's do 5% every 5 years. Like, okay.
Or just do down payment. So here's what you would do. So 5% down on a $400,000 house is $20,000, right?
Yeah.
So that means if you need 20% down, right? So 400,000 times 20% down. No, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that right. The same 5%. Am I doing this right?
Well, you'd get 5% down, then you want another 5% within the next 5 years. You want them to make monthly payments toward it?
Yeah.
So
divided by 60 months, they would pay $333 a month extra money.
Right, but
as a down payment assistance.
But don't forget, the price of the house is going to go up 3% too.
Right.
So you could kick that in and make that a little bit more, but that's the point. You have them pay it. So instead of hoping that they save up for it, they just pay you, and by the time 5 years comes, they've made the 5%.
So instead of their mortgage payment being $3,200, $3,134 plus $3,134, their payments would be $3,467.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you just added $333 to your profit margin because of what you just said, because we're not technically giving back that money. We're telling them it's down payment assistance and it's going towards the purchase of your house.
Yeah.
It is doing that. The $300 is going towards the purchase of their house. But because we have the 0.25% appreciation, the number's going up the same amount of money, so we're not giving anything back.
Yeah. And when they go get the mortgage, they'll have a lot of down payments, so it's a little bit less of a mortgage payment. In the end, it benefits them too.
Right. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that the slow flip, as this guy called it, I forgot his name. I should really go get his book and give him credit. I really should. I'm not sure where his book is, but anyways, the point is this. You don't need to, every 5 years, take somebody out and put them back in.
Mm-hmm.
If you demand 20% for a down payment, that's 5% each for four cycles. So you're still getting 20%, right? So the numbers still match. And because you're getting the down payment assistance, which you prefer not to take 20%, right? So let's just say we're selling for $400,000 times 20%, that's $80,000.
Mm-hmm.
you don't want $80,000 down.
Why not?
Why would you want that?
It's a lot of money.
What are you going to do with 80 grand?
Oh, I'll find something.
Yeah, and a year from now, you won't have the money.
No, well, I think, well, unless you took that to buy more properties or do something. But I see your point. I mean, either way, you're going to win. But you do a few of these properties, you got plenty of money coming in.
You know what the problem is with that 80 grand?
Besides taxes?
It's income tax for that year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're only going to keep about 50 of it,
Mm-hmm.
60 of it. I'd much rather have $334 times 12, which is $4,000 a year, and not have the tax consequences. And now, instead of having a $741 cash flow, 741 plus 334. Now I got $1,075. I got $1,100 a month.
Yep.
Times 12. I now have $13,000 a year coming in. The way I look at it is $1,100 a month. Yeah, that could pay my mortgage on my house. Or $1,100 a month. That could pay for my vacations every year.
Mm-hmm.
That could pay for my condo. Or that could pay for a second house. Or that could, whatever.
Sure.
Pay for my car insurance. Pay off my credit cards. I could take that $1,100 a month and just pay off my credit cards. Above and beyond what I'm already paying.
Yep.
Right? It doesn't sound like a lot until you multiply it out and end up with $3 million at the end of 30 years.
Right, but you're not only going to buy one house and sit around either. If you can buy one, you can buy another one and another one.
If you bought one a year, how much are you going to
Oh, don't even go there.
I didn't. I was afraid.
No, it's too much. We can't take that. Don't do that to us, Bill. It's just too much.
Let me see here. So, we made $1 million in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you did it for 10 years, you'd make $10 million.
Sure.
Over the course of 30 years. Because on a 20-year, because it's 20 years, and then it would take you 10 years to get them, and then you go 20 years from the last 10-year one.
Yeah, you don't buy them all at once, but
You'd make $10 million over 30 years. Buying one subject to a house a year, doing exactly these numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, what the F are you doing that's so important that you can't make $10 million in the next 10 years? Buying one subject to property. So, I don't like to talk to people on the phone. I don't know what to say. I don't have time. My parents, my daughter, my soccer practice. Come up with whatever you want. It's costing you $10 million over the next 20 or 30 years. Now, maybe you're like Peter and you're 75 years old and the next 20, 30 years doesn't mean anything to you. You know, it's more like the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could get all that cash flow.
well,
You could get the money down, all the money down.
yeah. I mean, I was making the mistake in my head thinking if we just sold houses, we'd make more money. But we make the same amount on an option sale or holding it. It's still the 5%, whatever it is. And then you get more money after that. So as long as you make money, as long as you stick around, you get the money. So what's the difference?
And you leave a legacy. And that may not mean anything to you people, but it means a whole lot to me.
Yeah.
Right? And if you put it into a family trust, which is not so hard to do, you can have rules and regulations of how to run the portfolio so that nobody can go in and sell everything and ruin it all.
Yeah.
Right? Because your heirs will shoot the golden goose and the golden eggs will stop getting laid.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so hopefully this was an eye-opener for you. Hopefully it'll get you off your ass and get you out there and at least try to make a phone call and get things done. And hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. Was a little dry with all the math, but for the right people it matters. Okay, so make sure you go to Amazon and type in William Hawthorne books, and you'll find my new book, Leads, Deals, Cash, Creative Real Estate, Operator's Manual. Soon you will find a workbook that will help you get certified in creative real estate. Nobody's talking about that, Peter. Nobody's saying I can make you a certified creative real estate investor. just like a realtor. You could be like a realtor has a certification. We're going to have certifications. And it's here. I've been talking about this for a decade, and it's actually here. So also, make sure you subscribe to us. Make sure you like us, leave us a review. And if you need anything, you can go to either flippinghousesforrookies.com, put in a support ticket. That's the slower way to do it. Or you can just send me a support ticket at flippinghousesforrookies@gmail.com. I've opened my coaching group again. It's been closed for the last couple of years. I've not been marketing it. I've took on just this month alone 3 new clients. And I will take on, I can have a total of 20. So I think I've got like 6 spots or 7 spots or something like that left. And then I'll close it again. So if you're interested in my mentorship, I include Creative REI Reply in my coaching nowadays. So when you get coaching with me, you also get all the things Creative REI Reply does. So if you're curious about that, go to flippinghousesforrookies@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Make sure you leave a phone number in there, how I can reach you, and I will personally call you from my cell phone. Okay? With that said, we're now 14 minutes past the hour, and we're over and out. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. And flourish and prosper, man. We'll talk to you on episode number 465.
This has been Flipping Houses for Rookies. The American Dream. What is it? It's called financial freedom, and with real estate, you'll have it. Without the banks, without the bigwigs, and without the realtors' nonsense. Bill and Pete are 2 real estate investors with 30 years plus of experience, hundreds of deals under their belts, and a mission to change the way you think about creative real estate. Do be sure to like, rate, and review the show. And after that, hit up our YouTube channel at Flipping Houses for Rookies/streams. We'll be back soon, and see you then on Flipping Houses for Rookies.